I recall a situation sometime when the Northeast crisis was was getting out of hand, and then President Goodluck Jonathan was going to declare a state of emergency in the northeastern states. He did it unilaterally, but then the National Assembly cried out that there is no way you can declare a state of emergency without seeking the approval of the National Assembly. That is stipulated by the Constitution. So why in this instance do you then say that the National Assembly doesn't need to be involved in the president's deployment of troops?
This is deployment. I mean, a state of emergency has not been declared. That's what you said. A state of emergency hasn't been declared. We're talking of deploying troops. Yeah, you really don't need the National Assembly's approval to deploy troops.
Well, some people have also argued that the power of the president is not absolute in that regard, and that when you have to deploy troops in civil matters, in fact, in many instances, they cite the elections in Ekiti and Ekiti, first and foremost, where troops were deployed to control the civil populace during an elections, and the court ruled that it was illegal. In this instance, do you think that there has been sufficient grounds for the president to deploy troops in this instance?
The Constitution did not say that there would be a limited time within which the police will act in such civil situations before you call in the military. The Constitution merely says suppression of insurrection. So the argument that, I mean, this is within the purview of the police is not tenable, largely not tenable. Once there are cases of insurrection, the military will, it's an automatic activation. They will be activated. You don't need even the president to say, deploy troops to this location. You don't even need it immediately. In some situation, this is not a state of emergency, okay? This is not a state of emergency. This is just go there, do what you have to do, and let there be peace and restore peace and order. So you really do not need the approval of the National Assembly to deploy troops in some situations, not in all situations, take note.
From what we have seen, I mean, we've seen the tensions are escalating in the southeast region, and there is suspicion. Right now, we have the governor of the state has declared a state of emergency. He is asking the military to act within international best practices. It's not, and he's asked all the citizens of his state to be law-abiding. We've also had groups who are saying that the military should call this off because of increasing tensions. And some believe, I mean, because even though the military says we're going there for armed robbery and kidnapping, the videos that we have seen so far looks like it actually could be, and even from what you have said in terms of insurrection, it could be ostensibly because of this group, because of the IPOP group, as it were. From your understanding, yes, there is a legal aspect of it, which some people will argue is neither here nor there. I mean, there definitely will be arguments for and against. But from what you've seen, do you think that perhaps this should be stepped down? I mean, for the sake of dialogue, for the sake of negotiations, what are your thoughts along that line?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, now you have seen the legality of the military deploying to the southeast. What comes next is the modus operandi. How do they conduct themselves in the southeast? Let's not be carried away with the pictures we see on the internet, because, I mean, people do make beliefs. But let us go with the video clips, the real live video clips of Nnamdi Kanu and what he said. We should be able to even give him credit, some small credit, for being honest. He said the military drove to this point, drove in this direction, came back, drove back, and on their way back, my men stopped the military. That's what he said. That's quite honest of him. And that corroborates what General Enenche said about 2 days back on the same program. Who stops the military? Who restricts? Who determines where they go to? They were walking past. Nicely, he said, my men stopped them. So it's so clear. I don't know with that scenario, who provoked who? I need you to answer. Who provoked who? You want to tell me that if the military drives past this studio where Channel works, or puts a station outside here, you won't drive to go home and come back. Even if they are here for another 1 week, you go about your duties in this channel.
But doesn't mean I would not be wondering
why
the military is parked right there. And it doesn't mean that I would not ask questions. And the military says that in this scenario, the military has said that they're after kidnappers and armed robbers. Yet they were driving right in front or right very close to his house.
You want to find out from the military if there's a kidnapping? I mean, if you don't know what intelligence they have. You don't even know what intelligence they have. They didn't even get into anybody's bedroom. But even if they do, even if they want to come to your bedroom and they knock and they tell you, can we talk to you? But they were driving past. You don't know what level of intelligence. That's what we need to really look at in this country. We do not know what level of intelligence the military have for doing what they're doing. They may have just given you two reasons why they're in the southeast and want to keep the others. It's the primary role of the military is to protect.
So are you saying then that we cannot take the military at its word? That if they tell us one thing, then we need to, think that perhaps if they're holding back 3 others, what those 3 others could be. Is that what we should be doing?
Not necessarily. I mean, there are informations that won't be good enough for the public because you don't want to subvert the actions, the activities. But primarily, what the military sets out to do, it's to bring about orderliness. It's to bring about, to curb criminality within their purview, not within the civil purview of what the police ought to do. So whether they are there for kidnappers, like I said, they are within the ambit of the law to go to the southeast.
What precisely do you think what role do you think the military will be playing? I mean, there has been when you say an insurrection, an opposition to government, is how you define it, constituted authority. Is that right? Now, what do you think? Because according to Kano's side of the story as well, he was sleeping in his house. And, it was young boys who were around who saw what was going on and who felt apprehensive as to what was going on. And that's the reason why, according to them, they stopped the military from their own account. What do you think? I mean, we didn't hear that there was a crowd gathering. We didn't hear that there had been protests in the last couple of days. We didn't hear that there had been sit-outs. What precisely has happened to constitute itself into an insurrection?
The insurrection from the IPOB angle, it's not an act of today or yesterday. There are series of insurrections from the activities of IPOB, but that's on the underside. My question to you would be, you think, like the military were passing, IPOB ought to have stopped them like they did? And I asked you, if the military is passing through channels, you would ask your people to go out and stop them and ask them why they're passing. If you could want to ask, that's fine, but you want to stop them because Nnamdi Kanu said, my men stopped them. They were passing. They didn't even get into his bedroom. They didn't even go to his compound. They were passing. So what else do we want to ask? I mean, who provoked who? I like, you want to answer who provoked who. He said, my men stopped them. You want the clip? You want to pull up the clip again? My men stopped them. They were passing. Those were his words. My men stopped them. So I wonder what else we want to find out, about who provoked who.